So very quickly, just with a few mouse clicks, I'm able to determine that here are some pages in New Mexico. I'm able to grab all of those pages that are having some performance-related issues, and then I'm able to pull those out and go from the pages even down into the URI stems. What I want to do, and I didn't want to fully investigate this one because I wanted to do a little bit different drill down and investigate it from more of an application perspective, and we'll get down to that level, but I wanted you to see that flow not from necessarily a geographic region where all of the traffic is coming in, but traffic coming in from a specific application. These views can be created by you, so the ones that are out of the box would be stuff like the global application delivery dashboard. But you can create your own dashboards that mimic or that view or present data related to a specific application. Now I'm going to come back to this and talk about what a watch point is, but essentially a watch point is a grouping of data that you utilize to manage the packets that are coming out or the pages that are being loaded. So an example of a watch point may be everything that has to do with the Calbro Trader application. So any page that's loaded with Calbro access or accessing that Calbro application could be a watch point. And that's what we've set up here. So now we're looking at performance for the entire application. We're looking at availability for the entire application, and any incidents that were raised from either a performance or an availability standpoint would be generated and displayed right here. So we monitor for performance, for availability, and for volume, and then we create incidents when things go far enough outside a band of normalcy. So when I say a band of normalcy, the data is learned. There's not necessarily a static threshold, although you could put one in, but it will learn what's normal. And when something goes outside of that band of normalcy far enough, and it stays outside that band long enough, and it affects enough people, and all of that is controlled by you, you have the ability to tighten that down or loosen that up, we can then generate events or notifications which then can be acted on. So you can send out notifications via email, or you can integrate with an ITSM suite, a service desk, or integrate into and send an event over into your infrastructure monitoring, your event management solution. So let's take a look at this guy right here. So I'm going to look at the performance compliance for the Calbro Trader, and if you look over here, we have 3.3% of the traffic is in a service level target violation. Now, all of these I can get down to, if I wanted to just jump right down into the pages, which is kind of where the global map took us, I could do that. Or we could jump down and move up a little bit in the stack and do sessions, or we could just get some general information about the pages that are coming through in the sessions. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to start there, but know that you could jump directly into either one of those straight from that one component and skip the workflow that I'm coming in. So I'm going to do a compliance graph over the last 24 hours, and let's generate the report and give me some information about how well we're doing. So for that application, over the past 24 hours, what we see is we've got 66%, 67% of our users are satisfied. We have 17% are in a tolerating state, and then we have 16 that are in a frustrated state. And notice that we still have the 2 seconds and 5 seconds thresholds there to determine tolerating versus frustrated. We can also scroll down and determine where we're spending a lot of time in the infrastructure. So is it host latency? Is it idle latency? Is it network latency? And here's kind of a cool thing is a lot of times when you get that war room going on and everybody's in the war room and says, hey, it's not me, and it's like, well, where is the performance? Inevitably, someone yells out, it's the network. And until the network guy can prove that it's not the network, the onus is on him to go out and fix the performance issue. Well, this I can very easily determine we don't have any network latency going on, so that guy's off the hook. It looks like we've got a lot of host latency, so we can now start to shift our focus in that respect. So let's do a little bit more deep dive. This is an overview of how all of those pages are going. Let's now move into the session level data. These are all of the sessions that were involved inside of that report that we just looked at. And again, I can sort by any one of these. So I'm going to sort by end-to-end response time. And now I get Rhett Erskine pops up to the top. So I've got several of these guys that are in some kind of a violation, and as I open this up, I can see one, or I can see the areas where they're spending time. So I've got a lot of redirect latency going on. I've got some idle time occurring. So let's go out and investigate Mr. Erskine here. So now I've drilled down, and I can, again, get information about where he's coming from. So this guy is actually coming from inside of our network, and information about what he's utilizing. So where did he come from? He came in from the home page. He exited to the portfolio page. He's using IE8. He's having some issues with a redirect. And I want to point this out, and we're not going to drill down here, but this details link right here is a link into that application deep dive where I can say, hey, where did he jump hop to hop between application server and database server and redirect? And that'll utilize an agent on the application server to help me determine that. So that option is there, and if it's there, it automatically populates that. But if that piece is not something that you guys are interested in, then that piece will just be left blank. So I come out here, and now I can see, well, it's not specific to that page, but here's where he's actually spending time. It's actually in the login portion of that page. And so as I drill down further, again, more information about where we're coming from, where we're going, what servers were accessed. And then all the while I have the ability to, if I want to get into the code level, the code level would actually, the details piece would let me move into that with that add-on or that additional piece of software. So now I've very quickly drilled down, determined that it is a network, or a redirect latency issue, so likely a database issue with the login page on that specific piece of the application for that user. Now, as much fun as it is to sit there and pinpoint each one of these, it's not really practical for me to go and look at 20 or 30 or 40 end users from a performance perspective. So what I want to do is I want to analyze these as a whole and see if I can begin to get a view of how these things are being accessed and any particular common traits that these users are experiencing. So, maybe if I want to look at the redirect latency, we can come out here and maybe look at page refer. Let's see what we have with that one. All right, so I can begin to, what this is going to tell me are, here are the things that are going through, and in this case, the refers, and how far away from or how much slower are they than the average. And these would appear to be really big deals. But what we see here is we only have, in this case, 4 out of all of our pages that have had any common traits or had any slow components. And so as we resort those, we really start to see, well, that's probably not something that's going to pan out for us on that one. So maybe let's look at host latency from a page perspective. So rather than do refer, maybe we go in. Right, and so while I would have been chasing this guy over here from a login standpoint, I see in these numbers, while it's only about 50% of these, that's really still what still about 15% of all of my pages are having issues, not with the login screen. The login screen appears to be okay, and it's actually performing better. I just happened to hit the one guy that was having problems with the login. They're actually having problems with the portfolio page. And so very quickly I'm able to drill down and say, hey, look at the application as a whole and begin to tell me where we're spending our time. This can also be used for things like application improvement. So look at the pages where we're spending a lot of time and focus your effort on tuning those and maybe improving the throughput on those, writing things that may not require as many graphics coming in, or maybe not require as many downloads on the screen, or those types of things. So helping with process improvement. So we've started with a couple of things. We started with a geographic drill down and moved down into the page level and into the URI stem, and we started from an application perspective through the dashboard, and went into a report that gave me an overview of the sessions and the pages, and then we drilled down into the sessions, looked at how each user was performing, and then drilled down into that user session to get pages, and then kind of backed up and did a broad slice and dice across all of those user sessions. We may want to take a look at the incidents, and so we're looking at the incidents here from an overview standpoint. So these are incidents that were raised maybe off of volume, so the volume either dropped below what was expected, so it's outside of this band of normalcy, the performance, or the availability, or we can look at it from a kind of an incident triage standpoint. And again, I can create these views to look at the data really any way that I want to. So over here we see the urgent incidents. These are the various watch points that we're looking at. So if I want to come out here, we can view the incident report. So this will give me information about, this is all of the traffic coming in from Internet Explorer. This shows the servers that were involved, the URIs that were involved in those errors. And so I get all of this information, and that, again, can be sent off to maybe an event management system, like our ProactiveNet solution, or it could be sent into a ticketing system, like in our case, our Remedy ticketing system, or Remedy on Demand, or it could have a notification go out through email directly from this solution. Again, very quickly, I'm able to drill down and say, hey, let me look at all of those incidents, and then you tell me what happened. So in this case, we threw an incident right here, and it raised a notification. So what that notification was, in our case, it sent out an event into our event management system. This is a critical component here, and now I can slide down and let me analyze this incident. So let me take the information, let me see the pages that were involved in this incident, and let's begin to see if we can see things that have been changed significantly. So the way to read this is, if you don't really want a low number to a low number, because that means everybody was involved in this. What you want to start to see is a low number out of a high number. And then when you do that, you can start to see these are all of the various things that were involved that did change significantly. And as I drill down onto those, all right, I picked one that was a little bit outside of the snapshot here. Let me see if I can get one that's, for the sake of the demo data, I'll go ahead and keep that consistent, that internet. We keep the data very tight. So let's drill down into that. Here are the session IDs, and we can drill into each one of those. The server ID, so 3 out of 74 of my servers were having incidents.